I felt like this might pair nicely because, you're kind of wondering, well, if let's say you're not in the military, let's say you're not a traditional first responder, who might this bulkhead appeal to? And
I like how you said a non-traditional first responder. I'm like, you mean a terrorist?
That's a non-traditional first.
well,
it's an alternative first responder.
Yeah.
well, specifically what I'm talking about here, you're not all the way off. So I read this article that came out earlier this week in Harper's. This is Jasper Craven, and it's a very long article. It's very good. Basically, the theme is that America is getting more and more paranoid. Duh, everybody knows that.
Drinking all this goddamn caffeine.
Yeah. And big corporations are hiring more and more security people.
Yes.
And so security guard is quickly becoming one of the biggest jobs in the country.
Yeah.
Like there's more security guards now. Like for instance, 131,760 security guards just in New York City.
Oh my God.
And they're for like corporations?
For everything. For parking lots, for corporations, just anybody. That's how many guard cards are in New York City.
I mentioned this to Sam when we did a live stream, and I was talking about how like we're getting like all the worst aspects of like cyberpunk. It's just like corporations with just armies of killers.
Private armies.
Yeah, but like
absolutely.
with none of the cool shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I want like fucking robot hands.
Right.
I want to be able to jump super high, but it's like
smartphone.
no. Yeah, it's like no, you get a smartphone in a studio apartment.
Yeah,
If you get a smartphone, you have to replace every 3 years.
Yeah.
It's Blade Runner, but you can't fly away from the acid rain soaked streets. You just have to fucking live.
Yeah, what if you were just on the ground in Blade Runner the whole time? That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But so that's kind of the flavor of the article, is talking about security guards. And the guy who wrote this, Jasper Craven, decided to get himself a job as a security guard and kind of write about the process. And in between starts talking about
being a rider's tough these days.
Dude, I mean,
Start working security.
that's the shit I want to do. That'd be awesome. But when I was reading it, I was like, I wanted to, because we were talking about Blood Mist, and I was like, this pairs perfectly. This is almost like steak and red wine for one of the characters that Craven encountered in this article. So this is at the Allied Security Academy, which is where they train all of the people who work for.
And that's how you see the majority of, if you look at their arm, the majority of security officers are Allied Universal, because they'd rather hire a third party, so then they're not liable for anything the guard does.
Oh, yeah. So Eric Rodriguez works in a white-collar office building in Manhattan, but on the day that we met, he was dressed for battle.
Hell yeah.
He wore a sweat-wicking gunmetal gray shirt, black combat boots, brown cargo pants, knives peeked out from both pants pockets, and a leather man sat on his belt next to a small swinging bottle of hand sanitizer. And I was like,
dressed like a henchman from Austin Powers.
yeah. Although I do like the hand sanitizer. It's like, I mean, it's good to, sanitize your hands, but also I could spray it on you and light you on fire. He also claimed that he had a first aid kit strapped to his leg under his pants, or so he said. Rodriguez was prepared for bad things and convinced that the worst was soon to come. Quote, I have 2 or 3 flashlights on me at any one time.
So these are like preppers.
Yeah.
It's like prepper adjacent. Like these people are seeking out like the worst situation possible.
He has a medical kit strapped to him like a Saint Bernard.
It's like a barrel around his neck.
Like a Saint Bernard looking for like avalanche. Avalanche.
Yeah, looking for people who
He's like, you never know, we might have a cave in at any moment.
Dude, when I worked at this wedding event hall, the security guy there was like, it was like his side business. He worked for the government as some sort of federal agent doing
did he,
something.
Though? Or did he just tell you this?
I don't know. He seemed legit.
Okay.
Because he often didn't work. He would send other people, but he was the dude. He had multiple guns on him. He had a mini fire extinguisher inside his coat. Like he had flashlights because he's a cop.
He had a fun-sized fire extinguisher.
Because I have a fucking theory. These guys like to think like I can respond to anything at any given time. I got it all on me, and I think they kind of just want to see how much shit they can carry at one time.
Yeah,
and they like to take pictures of how much stuff. They're like, all right, check out my daily carry. We spread it all out on the table.
Yeah, so that's like a whole movement. EDC, everyday carry.
Dude,
where these guys like leave the house with 5,000 things strapped to their body.
They got like 12 pocket knives. They're like, is that 11 too many? I don't know.
And it's so funny because you're like, I went through that phase when I was running away from home when I was 5.
Yeah,
I got my yo-yo. I got my army men.
I got a Rubik's Cube. I got 3 flashlights.
I got a pocket-sized fire extinguisher.
Got my compass.
My compass.
So, and this is my favorite. So he says he has 2 to 3 flashlights on him at all times, which again, how many arms do you have? Count those and then make room.
Well, the first one is to throw at him.
Yeah.
And then if that misses, then you close in.
Yeah, he's got his chucking light.
The first one's a melee weapon. 2 to 3 flashlights, and I take 40 vitamins a day. So
Yikes.
there it is. Target demo for Bulkhead.
Yeah, dude.
I think that's too many vitamins. Like, I don't know. That might be too much.
stones.
I was going to say, he has the craziest piss of all time.
It's purple.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
It's Purple Steel Reserve.
Yeah. He's peeing and he's always humming Purple Haze, just dealing with reality.
It's pink mist.
It's Pink Mist. That's how you get it. So, he goes on. He says, I met Rodriguez on a rain-drenched morning last fall. It was my first day at Allied Universal Academy, a security guard training center, and Rodriguez, a tall, broad-shouldered man with nearly 40 years of guarding under his belt, was my instructor. He worked for my prospective employer, Allied Universal, the largest security firm in the world.
Wow.
When I and more than 24 other bleary-eyed students first entered the classroom, Rodriguez was standing at attention at his lectern, adorned with a sign that says, in all caps, "Stand back! Don't approach desk!"
Why?
Because he thinks he's a cop.
He's out of his mind.
Behind the desk in question stood a miniature American flag, and on top of it was a leather binder affixed with a POW MIA sticker.
Jesus.
So, my favorite flag of all time. A flag for a thing that never happened.
Yeah. It's for like Vietnam War veterans.
Yeah, and they still fly that as if there's guys that are still like in cages.
Those guys that are like 90.
the Hanoi Hilton. Yeah,
It's a cool looking flag.
It is.
Come on.
It is.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Any flag that's like black.
Yeah.
That's why the ISIS flag
I was about to
so
say.
cool.
Yeah, that's why.
ISIS's marketing is, man,
Fuck yeah.
flawless.
Yeah, pirates, ISIS, all the cool,
And everything in between.
all the cool organizations.
Pirates, ISIS, and everything in between.
So early in his introductory remarks, Rodriguez told us about his 6 years serving the Army, and while he never saw conflict, Rodriguez still appeared to view himself as a fighter. His Facebook profile, he told us, depicted a Revolutionary War soldier running into battle, and his email signature included a quote on patriotism by Mark Twain.
Wow.
This also happened with the dude who was a security guard and then turned into he was in the military, never saw action, then became a cop.
Yeah.
That's what happens to all these guys. The ones who become super Republican and even more brainwashed don't do shit. And then they're like, yeah, I serve my country. I'm a hero, you know? It's like, no, you're just a guy who got a free check from the government.
Yeah, you didn't even work. Listen, like,
Fucking communist.
Yeah.
and if you want to seek out conflict, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
You just go to a bar in Pomona and
Just talk some shit.
and just wait.
Just wait and bumble around a little bit. Yeah, these people, like, it seems like they want to kill someone real bad, but it's also like you said, like, if they really did, they would have killed someone by now.
You can just go to a bar and fight someone.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Find
always
another security guard.
Yeah, go start shit with a bouncer.
And, there's nothing saying you can't go dressed as Batman like this guy. You can have 28
Stand
knives.
back from the desk.
Yeah.
Security guard just realizing they can beat each other up.
With his decades as a watchman, Rodriguez seemed to be racked by an ever-present fear of chaos.
Yeah.
And he was a believer in a guard's purportedly vital but nebulously defined role in dealing with it. During our 3-day licensing course, Rodriguez clicked through the curriculum of state-approved PowerPoint slides, most focused on security guards' basic, boring duties, and a few ventured into the more ominous predicaments one might encounter on the job. Rodriguez breezed through the day-to-day material, but lingered on slides about dirty bombs, mass shootings, and terrorist attacks.
So when you're doing security at Buffalo Wild Wings, what you got to look out for is dirty bombs in the men's bathroom that'll be diffused by the layer of water on the ground.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's much to learn about being a security guard. It's just like, all right, see that door? Stand in front of it.
A dirty bomb's like he's gonna go in and all right, so you got to cut the red wire.
Right. Yeah,
Like,
what
what
are
the
you
fuck
gonna
are you?
do?
No, you're calling a bomb squad. What are you talking about? Your security.
Yeah,
your,
it's like-
your dirty bomb protocol
Oh,
at the mall.
When I worked at an office building that had third-party security, when we do like a fire drill, part of the security's job is to stand by the exit doors and make sure they're open.
Right.
Shit
Yeah.
like that.
They're door
And
stops.
it's like, and they were almost like in in the way. It's like, also, if a real thing was happening, I would hope you guys would be smart enough to fucking just get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't trust your judgment. If you're going to stay in the burning building so some dweeb computer guys can get out, who cares?
So Rodriguez often spiraled into conspiratorial warnings about society's coming crack up. Quote, if you're not ahead of the game, you will be destroyed. I was just like,
They want chaos so bad.
I want to go to this class.
I like
you will be destroyed.
I like the ones that just smell like weed. Those are my favorite Allied Universal Security guards.
So he went off script to show us how to take down an attacker, but then identified himself as the vice president of the American Cowardly Association and advised us to, in all emergencies, just run.
What?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
yeah.
That seems antithetical to everything else he said.
That's my thing. I'm like, why go?
You're not getting paid enough.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, that. But I think everyone should let everyone steal from their job. Like, I don't think nobody should care about that at all.
No. Most people, I mean, I've said before, like, this life becomes a lot more navigable when you realize most people don't get paid enough to give a shit.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is true.
And in this case, you're like, yeah, you want somebody giving this advice, but clearly he's not taking it because, look, I'm never going to a job I don't care about with 3 knives on me.
Yeah, and then 7 flashlights.
Yeah, like ninja stars. And
Ninja
shit.
stars.
Yeah.
Nunchucks.
Nunchucks. Fucking. I got 8. I got all 4 Ninja Turtle weapons.
Blow darts and
Yeah,
shit.
he's got size.
Blow dart.
A blow dart gun.
I would.
And of course, he's got a katana.
I would lose my shit if I was coming up to like one of those little parking things at a parking deck, the little gates.
Oh, yeah.
Just a security guy just pops up with a blow dart gun.
He's like, I got my eye on you.
Yeah.
You better not park weird.
He's just very problematic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like in the first Indiana Jones? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So near the end of the course, Rodriguez said that our motivations for wanting the job didn't matter. When chaos strikes, he explained, a guard is front and center, a prime target, a presumed protector, or both. Quotes, most people, they have no clue. They don't understand what you do. They like to belittle you. They like to besmirch you. They like to talk bad about you.
That is
Projecting. I think he's projecting because everyone hates him.
No, everyone hates security
No, that's true. But like, I bet they hate him too.
of course.
Of course.
Just go on a tangent about like backstabbers.
Yeah, fake friends.
And
World's full of fake
getting
friends.
friend zoned.
Yeah, fucking
And women that won't fuck
I was
me.
about to say my bitch wife and her so-called restraining order, just because I have psychotic tendencies,
Just because I freak out in grocery stores.
just because I punched a couple of Captain Crunches doesn't mean.
You punch a Walmart greeter one
time, a couple times.
Oh yeah, you can't punch him once.
It was only you can really only get a couple hits. It's not like I killed him.
That's really the comment on the state of America. Is back when I was growing up, there was a Walmart greeter. It was an old person who had no other use to society.
Is that not a thing anymore?
No, now they have a Walmart check your receipter person, and they're always pretty fit.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened to all those old people? And now you're just hiring people who could potentially chase you out of the store with one of those pillow things that turns into a bed.
What?
You know what I'm talking about? They're like when you were a kid, you'd fold them up to play video games on, but then they'd fold out flat.
Sure.
Yeah, a meth head I once met was just like, oh yeah, I call that the flip and fuck.
Oh no.
This is the same person who also told me that the selling point, the number one selling point about doing meth was she was like, then you just shit. It feels so good. You're like,
You get all that brain steam
it's
too.
like, that just normally it's usually pretty relieving. It's why
It's a default for most people.
Yeah.
I love it when I can shit.
That's why they call it relieving yourself. Yeah, so this guy's going on. They like to besmirch you. They're like talking shit. In our class, Rodriguez made it clear that despite some lawsuits and localized activism, the company remains highly profitable. Quote, I have a company credit card. Me, a nobody, he said.
Oh man.
It's like, dude, you've been working there 40 years. Have some self-respect.
I'm fucking
sad.
nobody, and I have a credit card.
I'm able to charge some expenses for work to my credit card.
See this pink mist energy drink? Company card, baby.
I mean, you're joking. The next sentence, he said, Allied had recently bought pizza and donuts for its staff. When I asked if we would be able to get any free food as part of our 3-day unpaid training, Rodriguez shook his head. No, they don't give it to you.
So I would have budget budget for pizza and donuts.
Dude, this guy rules. I love this guy.
Yeah, I can't tell if this guy loves his job or hates his job.
Yeah.
I think he just hates.
Yeah, I think he's because his brain has become distorted beyond belief, and he is just like a machine of rage and confusion.
So
This is like the Brainsteam guy. You don't send your finest to the training center. You know?
Yeah.
You don't send your finest to the recruitment office. You send the dumbass there to keep them away from the public.
Right. So
You send your private piles there.
Allied's business model relies on keeping labor costs low and deploying warm bodies as quickly as possible. In service of this mission, Rodriguez whizzed through our training materials before providing us with the answers to our certification exam.
Oh my God.
Nice.
I had a professor that did that. You'd come in the day before the test and he would just be like, all right, the answer to number 1 is going to be A. Because it was geography and nobody went to this class because if you failed it, you're a fucking idiot. So, yeah, he's giving out the test answers. He would recommend that we take the de-escalation course, but said it wasn't required. I'm like, oh, they are like cops.
He's like, no, you know what is required? The escalation course.
That's what we used to call the first course.
Yeah.
The fuck around and find out.
Fuck
course.
around and find out.
He then immediately cast doubt on the course's efficacy with an anecdote about a guard upstate who, shortly after completing the class, grabbed an intruder and threw him onto the street, at which point he was hit by a speeding vehicle.
That's how you know you take your job way too seriously.
Let's just observe and report.
That I have been thinking about that this whole time, actually.
That movie fucking rocks.
It is really good. It's really sad.
so funny.
I was going to get to it at the end, but I'll say it now. Like, it's one of those movies that, like it's similar to Taxi Driver, where you're like, comes out in 1976. Obviously, that was a much bigger hit, but nobody had any idea of just like how perfectly illustrative of society that was going to become. Like, weird loner shaved his fucking head and then starts shooting at people. Yeah, that's going to be a thing.
when he shoots the streaker at the mall just out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking cried so hard. I laughed. That was so funny because everyone's just like, "Good job, bro."
Dude. Yeah, that movie very underrated. If you've never seen Observe and Report. So they throw the guy out in the streets and he gets run over by a car. He says, quotes, "We are being sued right now for that man throwing that man out the door." That's just a payoff. We have to pay them off. Just give them oodles of money and make it all go away.
You can't say oodles in the same breath as this man was killed by a car.
Right, but also you're like, yeah, that is a payoff. You have to pay them.
Yeah.
You killed him.
I guess it's just kind of your business model is just like an odds game.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if it only happens sometimes, but you employ like an army of crazy mouth breathers.
Yes. Oh,
who kill maybe 10 people a year.
Right.
But then you got 10,000 people probably, I assume, getting a cut of you get a cut of what they make.
Yeah, absolutely. Or whatever company is just paying huge amounts of money to you to hire all these people on. I'm sure it's like a staffing agency.
Yeah.
It's probably like Kelly Services or something like that.
A temp agency.
Yeah, literally.
Probably.
Yeah.
Temp agency with the flashlight.
Yeah.
7 flashlights.
Yeah. 6 flashbangs, 2 flashlights, a fucking batarang.
2 shots of Jaeger.
Yeah, 2 shots of Jaeger, a Captain America shield, a bat phone,
Mjolnir, the Thor's hammer.
Mjolnir, yeah, I got it all. Last paragraph here. Immediately after our test, all of us passed. Rodriguez handed us off to an allied supervisor in a room across the hall. She ran us through a truncated employee onboarding process, which skipped over sexual harassment training.
No.
Well, you're all a bunch of swinging dicks. You know all this.
Yeah, but then I assume
Just
if
don't-
you're a security guard, a big part of your job is like patting people down.
Yeah.
What the
So you
fuck?
should that should be mandatory.
Boys, we all know where the gooch is. Just
Yeah.
avoid the gooch.
Just listen, tap, don't hold.
No, these are the guys who just stand around in parking lots. They're not frisking anyone.
So he says, then we self-administered mouth swab drug tests. The guy next to me didn't look like much of a meth head, but he did test positive for crank. The supervisor brushed it aside.
What?
Yeah.
Dude, what is going on?
So I love that you have the opportunity to give your own drug test, and he actually scrubbed his teeth where the meth is kept and handed it off. And
That doesn't even stay in your body that long.
Right.
He must have
either.
just done it.
Yeah. It's within 2 days.
yeah. I ran out of pink mist, brother. I had nothing else. I had to get it on.
He was going to a methadone clinic, but it was to get off pink mist.
Yeah.
They gave him meth.
And get on crank.
The security guard on crank is like he's gonna stay up.
Yeah, it's true.
He's
That's
not
true.
gonna fall asleep on the job.
Yeah. That's the night watchman. Dude, I just can't sleep during the day unless I smoke fucking chicken all night. So the supervisor brushed it aside. This kind of laissez-faire attitude surfaced in Times report when a guard trainer recalled flagging a candidate in another company who appeared to be suffering from a severe mental health issue. Quote, I said I wasn't going to be able to qualify this guy, but they just shrugged. So literally John Hinckley comes in.
Yeah.
Just
John
like,
Hinckley.
I have one woman I want to impress, and her name's Shirley Temple. Like, oh, yeah, give him a fucking gun.
He's like, also buy this painting of a cat that I've been pushing on Twitter for like 3 months.
I painted it with my own skin grease. What? So anyway, if you want to know who's into the pink mist, I think Officer Rodriguez, because it was just funny because I found that, started reading this article. I was like, my God, that's who this is for.
Yeah, that's 100% what we just drank the essence of that guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.